So, hi, I'm Chatterjee, talking about the another medicine, which is name of the medicine is the Lacan. Okay, so Lacan is a very important medicine. Lachesis is a very important medicine in the homeopathic medica. It belongs to the snake poison. There are other medicines are there, which is used for the medicine, as a snake poison. The viper is also one of them, and cobra and snake poison. So many drugs are there which is used in the opiate group. So previously the snake was not used, but Dr. Herring has used this medicine, the opiate group, for the purpose of the treatment of the patient. What's happened? In his time, there are various types of snake poison which are available in the market. But what happened? Some snakes are there which is useful for the medicine and for the curing purpose. The name of the medicine among them is the Lachesis. Viper is there. Some medicines which are used for the treatment of the that is the disorder in the blood, and some are in the disorder in the nervous system. Lachesis is one of the medicine which is mostly useful, especially useful in case of the females, but not necessary. But it is useful in case of the females and others, those who are having that during the climate period or after the menopausal syndrome. So there are so many symptoms usually produced after the menopause is this, which is present in case of the Lachesis. That's why it is to be called it is a medicine for the female remedy or the menopausal syndrome and so on. Study of the drug never complete without the study of the properties of the particular material substances in its crude, inert and inert state. So learning a few symptoms is generalities cannot be always helpful in the treatment of the or the selection of the medicine, but some simillimum may be useful and to be helpful for the treatment of the disease condition. The drug should be studied in the total entity as also the sign symptoms of the depth of the action of the drug substance. Especially the alkaloids are mostly responsible for producing the sign symptoms, and on the basis of the alkaloids the sign symptoms is produced, and these symptoms may be either mental or physical or physical both, or the nerves levels that differs from particular medicine to medicine. So Lachesis will always be imprinted on the mental symptoms, which will be ever remain helpful in spotting out Lachesis among the disease cases. An attempt is being made here to make an integrated study of the Lachesis basis on the morphology of the snake and to consider a probable phenomena, a possible metamorphosis of the biological energy and functions of the movement to a chemical energy of a poison, or elucidating the same of the generalities of the Lachesis. इसलिए सिर्फ एक नहीं है, Lachesis पढ़ना है, इसका fundamental knowledge, even the phenomena, probable phenomena, possible metamorphosis of biological energy and the functions of the movement of the chemical energy of the poison is to be elucidated, is to be studied properly, then only possible. Destruction of the decade. We all know about the effects of the Lachesis on gangrene. Her tissues are destroyed. In case of the Lachesis, the tissues are mostly destroyed and formless. These symptoms, action of the drug attributed to the fact that the snake swallows up its entity and is served gastric juices, dissolves everything, the hair, teeth, bones, even the everything. The snake has that power to dissolve every tissue, and likewise we have the destructive capacity of the lachesis. इसलिए देख लेना कभी कभी स्नेक क्या करते हैं ना, पूरा ये क्यों पूरा तो चूहा अदर सब्सटेंस को डिजर्व करते। इवन अगर हम अनाकोंडा देखा और अजगर देखा, ये को पूरा एनिमल को गिन लेते हैं, बाद में स्टमक में जाने के बाद वो पूरा हड्डी, हेयर्स, नेल्स और भी कुछ है उसको पचा लेते हैं, इतना उसका कैपेसिटी है, ठीक है ना। ये डिस्ट्रक्टिव, सो लाइकवाइज दिस मेडिसिन आल्सो, दिस लैकेसिस आल्सो having the destructive property which remain within the stomach, they will dissolve everything, okay. But in other places, other species, this capacity is not obtained. So first effect of the snake bite is dissolution of the tissue near the bite and end result in the general distinct integration of form due to neurotoxic, blood coagulating, hemolytic, proteolytic action of the poison. इसलिए जब भी कोई ये हो सकते हैं, एक्शन हो सकता है, जब भी कोई पावर का प्रॉब्लम है तो हम क्या देखेंगे, बहुत सारी सिम्टम्स हैं. वन इज द न्यूरोटॉक्सिक एंड सेकेंड नंबर इट इज ए ब्लड कोएगुलेटिंग, हिमोलाइटिक एंड प्रोटियोलाइटिक, ये सब ब्रेकडाउन कर देते हैं. कभी कभी नर्वस सिस्टम को इट यूजुअली affects the nervous system and also causing the paralytic condition, paralysis condition, and like these symptoms. Even if we see the situation that is the in case of the lachesis, we'll find it. There are so many other characteristic symptoms. Lachesis, देखोगे, they are the cold-blooded, but they cannot tolerate the heat of the sun. This is very important. Likewise, the snakes are usually the cold-blooded and they cannot tolerate the heat of the sun. Usually, the snake usually coming out in the night or during the cold heat में उसका तकलीफ होती है. That's why they usually remain in their nest. बिल में वो लोग रह जाते हैं और रात में कभी कभी निकालते हैं जो खाना खाने के लिए. So these symptoms also, doctrine of signature, that also helps us to make a correct prescription when it is to be used and when not, the basic morphology character and where it is to be applicable, like this. So, like in case of the lachesis, we'll find that the neck, in any snake, the neck portion is a very weak portion. So, if we see the neck, we'll find it there, the neck is very weak and they are very easily controlled by the neck, by throttling, by any problem related to the neck, and by anatomical problem. So lachesis is predominantly a left-sided drug in the anatomical inner structure of the snake, and in all the paired organs are reduced in size to the left side, on the left side. इसलिए especially L for lachesis, L for left, but also L for lycodium is there, that is also right, but right, left, right, like this. Whereas the lachesis first left, then goes to the right, then comes to the left, like this. This is the basic difference between the lachesis and the lycodium. But if you go to the relationship, you will find that you will be astonished. Although they are both are from the right, left, left, right, whatever may be, they usually affect the first right, then left, then comes to the left, like this. And what will find it? Now, this left lung usually mainly completely absent, thus the left side of a snake is weaker. The size of the left side is reduced, all the paired organs are reduced in size on the left side in case of the snake. So it is like it is a left-sided remedy on the basis of the structure and so on. So there is an affinity weakness of the left side, we'll find it. Another thing is that all the pair organs are reduced in size in the left lung being completely absent, and thus the left side of the snake is weaker, which is manifested as the left-sidedness of the Lachesis. इसलिए होम्योपैथी में हम लोग देखना है कौन ऑर्गन इज वीक, उसका बेसिक कैरेक्टर क्या है, उसका लॉजिक क्या है, उसका हिस्ट्री क्या है, उसका ओरिजिन क्या है, and then only. If we see the left right guy, but if we see the heart is also mostly remain on the left side. So in case of the Lachesis, there is blood pressure is mostly important, and left sided is most important, left throat, left lungs, left everything, and snake is weaker, which is manifested in the left sidedness of the Lachesis. So in case left sidedness is very important to the Lachesis is there. Okay. Next number, what we'll find it, what we'll see, that is the sensitiveness. Usually the snake has no ears, but the sensitive organs like the ears are present in the chest like area. So snake is vertebrate and evolution of its meat is lost. Similarly, the ears have lost their function of hearing and have become actually the organ of the touch, receiving the slightest sensation of vibration. They usually catches the vibration. The most primitive sensation, the sense of touch, is highly developed in the sense. The sense organ is very sensitive, developed in the snake, making it aware of the slightest vibration of the ground. They become very sensitive, aware of the vibration of the ground. Even the sense of smell is a snake has become a sense of organ to touch. कभी कभी देखते हैं जो Lachesis का जो smell organ very sensitive on the basis of the snake, smell of the snake, anything, they usually becomes very sensitive, and the snake has developed the highest sense of touch on the basis of which makes it sensitive, and the same trait is manifested in the symptomatology of the Lachesis. Is the symptomatology of the Lachesis. So, in this sense, if we remember the metamorphosis of the sense organs, we can never forget the sensitiveness of the Lachesis. अगर ऐसे देखा गया है तो sensitiveness of the Lachesis is also very important. Lachesis, which is one of the generalities, so we can never forget the sensitiveness of the Lachesis is like this. इसलिए इसका जो चेहरा है बाकी है हम उस चीज़ के बारे में बहुत से जान सकते हैं. Aggravation, all the games of the aggravation night. Basically, snake is an animal of at night. मैं पहले बोला रात में इसका aggravation time है. All the signs symptoms usually aggravation at time. They cannot go to the bed or sleep. All the complaints aggravation after the sleep. This is also basic character of the Lachesis. The snake usually comes at night and is rarely seen in the daytime. This trait of snake is manifested in the night aggravation of the Lachesis. जो मैं पहले बोल चुका हूँ, रात में खाना खाने के निकालते और जो शिकार मिलते वो खा लेते. It may be the rat or any other small insect or something else. They usually take it. तो रात में aggravation, sensitiveness, left-sidedness is very, very important. Then comes about the construction of the Lachesis. Lachesis for left-sided, Lachesis for the mental symptom, Lachesis for the left-sidedness and other things. The movement of the snake is quite characteristic. On the basis of the movement, the sensitiveness, the left-sidedness, aggravation at night, we can think about the drugs. So movement of the snake is quite characteristic. It is very important. The snake movement consists of consecutive waves of contraction followed by the relaxation. This is very important. इसलिए लैकेसिस में क्या देखते हैं? Contraction and relaxation during deglutition. The food goes to the inside, and it is due to the contraction and relaxation like this. Snake usually moves left, right. So while walking, this is a very important symptoms of the Lachesis modalities and Lachesis characteristics. So following the relaxation to help it move, the coil is swallow. This is analogous with the manifestation of most of the symptoms of Lachesis, which are the expression of the spastic contractions. Lachesis, which are the expression of spastic contraction, is also very important. Contractions. The tensive pains in the head, pressing pains, contractive pain in ear, and sensation of hair being pulled, etc. is also important. इसलिए Lachesis का हमारा important है. On the basis, contraction, Lachesis का manifestation of the most symptom Lachesis, which are the expression of spastic contractions, tensive pain in the head, pressing pain, contractive pain in the ear, and sensation of ear being pulled. कभी कभी लगता है जैसे hairs pulling like this. It is very important in the sense, and that hairs have become very much sensitive to touch. Next, if we see it, about the Lachesis, the sensitiveness around the neck, area of the neck of the snake is very great biological significance. The neck of the snake must always be free, and the neck of it has to swallow big animals, even ये लोगों या कम से कम 180 डिग्री ये लोगों मुख खोल सकते हैं. इसलिए big animal also ये लोगों खा सकते हैं, even chew कर सकते हैं. It has swallowed big animals. Ability of the big snake to bite defense on the neck. Any grip of the neck of a snake is intolerable to snake and makes him restless and helpless. Many of us must have observed that the snake is always hold by snake. That is its weak spot. The snake cannot tolerate anything around the neck. The state is expressed in the symptomatology of the Lachesis. State is expressed in the symptomatology of the Lachesis, expressed in the contractions. Sense of touch is greatest in the area of the neck of snake, and proving also definite characteristics of the neck symptoms are manifested. Even कभी देखा, the symptoms are manifested, characteristics. This constrictive sensations has been considered as a generality of neck, up around the waist, and where the patient does not feel at ease in general by anything around the neck. Okay. इसलिए the patient has not feel at ease generally by anything around the neck. इसलिए Lachesis का सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम होते है the throat problem, and it is very difficult to cure because this is a weak point, and it is be helpful in case of any problem dealt with the neck. Lachesis patient usually दिन भर सोते रात में जागते, but इसका modality is opposite. इसका दिन भर ये लोग सोते रात में जागते जैसी, लेकिन इसमें देखा गया रात and the complaints usually aggravation at night, but less daytime aggravation, but except the heat. So that is aggravation during sleep. The fundamental phenomenon underlying expression and symptomatology depend on the snake poison is a paralysis of motion, of the mother of the motor force and something else. The Lachesis patient is mostly what is found it. In case of Lachesis, they cannot tolerate anything to be touched in the throat. Even Dr. Herring, he has proved the Lachesis, but he in his throughout the lifetime, he cannot use the necktie because he has some problem of the neck and cannot tolerate in anything which is tight bandaging to the neck. Even something to the, they cannot tolerate the tight bandaging in the waist and any part of the body. Okay, so this neck symptoms of Lachesis is very important and they cannot tolerate it. Next, physiological paralysis is also there. If we think about the physiological paralysis, the sleep will aggravate it, all Lachesis symptoms is there. Heat aggravation, snake is general cannot withstand heat. Usually the snakes, especially the Lachesis, they cannot tolerate the heat in any form. All complaints aggravation in the heat in any form, even the summer weather, that is very important sign symptom the Lachesis. It always reaches the snake usually reaches the cool place and shadows and from day lights. This is very uncommon peculiar symptoms of the Lachesis. So while prescribing these symptoms, we must consider this type of very characteristic symptoms, modalities and so on. Thus we have Lachesis, general aggravation from the heat is very characteristic symptoms and we must consider it. Next is, if we see that discharges ameliorate, emulsion, this is another very characteristic symptoms of the Lachesis. What we will find there, in case of the Lachesis, the modalities of Lachesis has great bearing on the relationship of motion to everything that moves to the body. So, relations of motion, everything that moves in the body, when the humors of the body are in the motion, there is feeling of the well-being. So, any motion that is very characteristic, there is feeling of well-being. Establishment of the discharge has been the background of the motive force. Okay, so discharge also is very important of the Lachesis. The discharge has become background of motive force is there, which is one of the characteristics of the snake. Discharges and characteristics of the snake. Motor energy of snake is released through the poison of the snake. Then question comes another thing, what is motor energy? So this discharges has been background of motive force, which is one of the characteristics of the snake. Motor energy of snake is released through the poison of the snake. Biological energy of the movement is absent in the extremities. So in case of the human beings, we will find that sometimes there may be some motor paralysis or paralysis, especially in the motor nervous system. So after the stroke, brain stroke or cardiac arrest, we will find that the paralytic conditions and so and so. Even the cardiac arrest, sometimes the Lachesis may be useful, some other may be useful. Biological energy of movement of the absent in the extremities. If this enormous energy expanded in the extremities is withdrawn and becomes concentrated into chemical energy in a single drop, its biological effects turn into the opposite and produces paralysis of every kind of movement. The process of potentization expands as it were and frees the hidden energy of motion, and under the influence all movements start again Thus, if we know and remember peculiarities of snakes, we can never forget Lachesis. So, we must consider the Lachesis, the movement, the energy, the discharges, even whatever happened, all the discharges of the Lachesis are very offensive. Even Lachesis discharges are offensive. Even sometimes it's in the black color. That is also another characteristic interest of the Lachesis. His writing is entirely based on the writings of Dr. William Gutman, published in the book titled Homeopathy, published in the Homeopathic Medical Publishers, Bombay. So, wherever in the Gutman has tried to show a new way of studying remedies which may lead to the grasp of the integrated entity of the remedy and is a panoramic view of encompassing nature and its healing force. So, this is very important of the Lachesis to find its characteristic symptoms. Everything is written hidden in its Lachesis. But in causation, if we see the sphere of action, that it has some very important criteria. Mostly the physiological action of the Lachesis, Dr. Herring has proved it, and under class 8, the physiological action, local hypersensitiveness is very important. Local hypersensitiveness is very important of the body due to irritation of the peripheral nerves, local hypersensitiveness, and of the body due to irritation of the peripheral nerve, irritation to the peripheral nerve. Hypersensitivity is very important. Second number, inflammation of an asthenic character. Inflammation of an asthenic character, that is the cellulitis, erysipelas, like septic condition, septic gangrene, like this. Third number, general action on nervous system and the blood. General action and nervous system of the blood is very important. Okay. Main action on the pneumogastric nerve. Main action on the pneumogastric nerve. Throat, larynx, bronchi, heart, irritation is there. So, if the action of the pneumogastric nerve, there is a paralysis of the throat, heart, larynx, bronchi, and any other part. The nerve centers have become poisoned. There is also, as a poisoning of the nerve center, that the prostration, convulsions, and unconsciousness is very important. The functional integrity of the brain is also implicated. This is also another characteristic symptoms of the drugs. And another thing is blood decomposition and disorganization is very characteristic symptoms. So, if we see that the blood decomposition is found, there is a blood disorganization, there may be some blood clotting disturbances, there may be some ecchymosis, hemorrhage, asthenic inflammation, abscesses, malignancy, inflammation, and gangrene, pyemia, general typhoid condition, and jaundice. So, if we see these conditions very minutely, we will find it decomposes the blood and producing these types of symptoms, both the cellular level, nervous level, and other parts. Ecchymosis, hemorrhage, asthenic inflammation, abscess, malignancy, malignant inflammations, gangrene, pyemia, and general typhoid condition and jaundice. General typhoid condition and jaundice. So, if we go to the in other sense, that means that it poisoning the blood and destroys the RBC and WBC. So, if the RBCs become destroyed as a result of what we'll find, that bleeding and other things. the blood become black color and putrefaction is there, and in case of the malignancy it is also found it. So these are the physiological action. If we see the physiological action of the drugs, then if we see the other characteristic symptoms of the drugs, if we therapeutically, in case of the therapeutic, it has some abundant source, abundant place where that medicine acts beneficially. First number is alcoholism. Alcoholism was side effect, apoplexy, unconscious coma, asthma, boils, carbuncles, cough, epilepsy, diphtheria, enteric fever, hemorrhage, flatulency, gangrene, hemorrhoids, heart affection, mental disorders, and malignant pustules, throat and lung affections, neuralgia, pneumonia, quinsy, skin affections, ulcers, varicose veins, and vertigo. So, in case of the alcoholism, apoplexy is there, apoplexy, asthmatic condition, boils, carbuncles, we can think of these drugs. In case of the cough, that is also having importance, epilepsy, cough, diphtheria, enteric fever, hemorrhage, flatulency, gangrene, hemorrhoids, heart affection, headache, jaundice, laryngitis, liver affection, mental disorders, malignant pustules, throat and lung affection, neuralgia, pneumonia, quinsy, skin affection, even the ulcers, varicose veins, and vertigo. So these all are either they are the acute condition or the chronic conditions. If it is the acute, then we can do something. If it is the chronic, we have some also so many options. Acute and chronic में हम लोग बहुत कुछ कर सकते हैं. So in case of the acute, the method of treatment will be different. In case of the chronic, the method of treatment will be different. But what will happen? If it is the any case which is on the constitution basis, we have to think. Okay. Now, there are so many factors related with the these symptoms, these drugs. So if we see, there are very relationship with the thermal model, that is the modalities in relation with the aggravation and amelioration. They are mostly general modalities, complaints in damp weather, warm and spring weather, desire for the open air before menses, one's head closely wrapped up. These are the aggravation, desire for external warmth, exposure to wet weather, and becomes comatose. So general modalities is there, damp weather aggravation, spring weather aggravation, desire for open air before menses, one's head closely wrapped up, and so on. Aggravation, if we see, that is also very important thing for the prescription purpose. Aggravation from spring, aggravation from the spring and summer, aggravation from the sun rays. Okay, so this medicine have some peculiar aggravation and particular time. Amelioration in open air, amelioration in warm room, chill, and ameliorate. Okay, इसलिए it has some peculiarity, chill, ameliorates. Cold aggravation, usually open air and vertigo. Cold aggravation, particular model open air and vertigo. Cold open air. Tickling and cough. Heat, amelioration, ulcers, toothache, pain in head, heat aggravation, headache, warm weather and diarrhea. Cold amelioration, open air, heart disease, and tension and pain in the head. So headache, warm weather, diarrhea is there. And cold amelioration, open air, heart disease, tension, pain in the head is also there. After this medicine I have some, after scarlet fever, swelling of the whole body, and draft of the air, throat, and damp weather, cough, wet weather, aggravation, ulcer in throat, getting wet in throat, toothache, aggravation by cold, even aggravation by heat, the ulcers, toothache, pain in the head and earache, heat of the stove, pain in the hand, and legs burning, heat of the stove aggravation, creeping sense aggravation, and warmth of bed aggravation, itching of the legs, cannot keep limbs quiet, hot drinks, throat symptoms, toothache and bleeding gum. These are the peculiarities. But if we see in general, now constitution, if we see the constitution, it has some very important constitution, and we usually prescribe on the basis of the constitutions. There is some causation is also there. Causation is also there. The constitution and causation has lots of importance of the Lachesis. The constitution is appearance. The constitution is appearance. It is ideally suited to thin and emaciated subjects during and after climatic period age who have been changed both mentally and physically by the illness. To persons having disposition to low spirit and indolence with blue and purple look is there. So constitution appearance is also very important. Now, it is ideally suited to thin and emaciated subjects. अगर हम बहुत नजदीक से देखेंगे, हम एक चीज देखते हैं, स्नेक कैसे lean, thin, emaciated, and they are slender, moves like this way and that way. So their appearance to the persons, those who are having the disposition to low spirit and indolence with blue and purple look, except the memula. Indolence with blue and purple look. Okay. So, in case of the blue and purple look, we'll find it इनका चेहरा में क्या है? Disposition, physical and by the mentally, by the illness, persons having disposition to low spirited and indolence, alashay, with blue and purple look, that is also very good. Snake bite jidhar hote, bluishness hote, purpleness hote, that is good. Temperament, melancholic and sad, these are also very important. So, if we see the character, the physical appearance of the drugs, we will find it, their appearance. Their appearance is ideally suited to thin and emaciated subjects during and after climatic age who have been changed both mentally and physically by their illness. Once upon a time that health was proper, but due to the disease conditions, due to the mental condition, it has been changed mentally and physically. The illness also changed, having the disposition to low spirit and indolence to blue and purple look. Temperament, melancholic and sad. If we see the diathesis, hemorrhagic diathesis is there, hemorrhagic diathesis. And miasm, Lachesis is one of the greatest anti-shortage remedy. Lachesis is the greatest anti-shortage remedy. Sora is the background for all travels. This is very important of the Lachesis. इसलिए जब भी Lachesis का चॉइस करते हम देखते क्या है, इसके peculiarity क्या है? The melancholic and sad. They are the हमेशा खामोशी में रहते. Mental disease, sad, despondent. Sometimes ये छोड़ के भी और mental symptoms हैं, That will be, we will discuss later on. You will find it is very interesting. स्नेक का साथ इसका बहुत सारे सिम्टम्स को रिलेटेड है. ओके, सो इन केस ऑफ द lachesis, if we find the cause, so if we find the cause, we will find it, that is the causation, long lasting grief. Causation is very important. Then what is the long lasting grief? That the long lasting grief, if any person is suffering from long and having some complications, they are mostly aurum, causticum, coculus indica, ignitia, the natrium, phosphoric acid, and the staphysagrida. The long lasting grief also have some lots of importance. So बहुत सारी लोग बहुत दिन से दुखी है, long lasting, and health has been deteriorated. We must think of these drugs. The name of the medicine is aurum, okay, the causticum, coculus indicum, ignitia, natrium, phosphoric acid, and staphysagrida. Next, sorrow, excitement after sadness. Spygilla is also important. Excitement after sadness. Appetite, wanting from sadness is also important. So, appetite, wanting, so कम है. From sadness, दुख से ज़्यादा. Platina is also important. Appetite, wanting from sadness is also important. Platina is also important. दुख के कारण उसका भूख कम हो जाता है. Platina. Next number, perspiration from sadness, cadmium, sulfur, and phosphorus. Okay, sadness का नाम perspiration, the cadmium and phosphorus. From fright, they becomes under both sadness, aconite, ignitia, lycopodium, natrium, opium, phosphoric acid, pulsatilla, silicea. So, due to the fright, snakes are also always, they are in fright. There is the fright is very important factor of the lachesis. Aconite, ignitia, lycopodium, natrium, opium, phosphoric acid, pulsatilla, and silicea. Next number, jealousy. They are become very quarrelsome from jealousy. They are become quarrelsome from jealousy. Canthedish, Lachesis, and Axmomica. They are jealousy from quarrelsome. They are very jealousy in general. Lachesis patient किसी को भलाई नहीं देखते. APs किसी को भलाई नहीं देखते. किसी को अच्छा नहीं लगते. Second number, quarrelsome from jealousy. Like Canthedish is also very important. Lachesis is also very important. Canthedish देखना, मक्खी, Spanish fly, बहुत arrogant. Their character also important. Nux vomica, they are also very jealousy, Lachesis jealousy, and so on. Catalepsy from the jealousy. Any problem usually starts from the jealousy. This is also very important to them. Hyacinthus, Lachesis, ये लोगों भी jealousy है बहुत ही. Vexation, इससे aconite, coculus, कोई चीज़ में दुखी हो जाती है. Aconite, coculus, chamomilla, colocin, ignitia, ipecac, nux vomica, opium, platinum, and staphysagrida. These are from the vexation. So, now कोई grief, reserve, displeasure, इससे भी कोई problem. Disappointment of love. This also very important for this one. Long-lasting grief, disappointment love, Hyacinthus, ignitia, natrium, and phosphoric acid also there. Another hyacinthus, ignitia, natramine and phosphoric acid. These are also having the causation also there.